We now return to the 6th annual Fannie Awards.
Hello. Welcome back to day 9 of the 2022 Fannie Awards. I have had so much fun these past few days hosting these awards for you watching at home and for all of you watching here live. It's been great. Don Cheadle has been laughing at my jokes all night. I love you, Don. He gets it. So if I may pull a quote from Sesame Street for a minute here, today is going to be brought to you by the number 2. Because not only are we talking about my number 2 film of the year, we're going to be talking about the film that smelled the most like number 2 after all was said and done. With that being said, let's put our hands together for the film that takes home the silver medal for the entire year, the Fannie Award for the number 2 greatest film goes to The Batman. I'm Vengeance. I'm just kidding. I'm not Vengeance. I'm grateful that we got a 3-hour Batman movie that not only featured the live-action comeback of my favorite member of his Rogues Gallery, but also managed to be an outstanding piece of cinema from start to finish. The Batman takes all the gritty realism of the Nolan films and all the sweet, pulpy stuff from the Burton Schumacher films, says, "Hold my bat beer," and puts them together in a Justice milkshake that looks gorgeous, sounds even better, and just outright soars. The Riddler is complex and terrifying. Batman is complex and terrifying. Gotham City is complex and terrifying. And it all weaves together into a film noir so timeless, you could have slapped a monochrome version of this into Cineplexes in 1948 and nobody would have batted an eyelash. 10 years ago, we were content thinking nothing was ever going to top Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. But if The Batman is any indication, then I can't wait for us all to be proven wrong. I was really hoping that for next year's Fannies we could host them live from Gotham City, but if the Riddler has his way, we're going to be knee-deep in water, so maybe that's not the best idea. Speaking of ideas that weren't the best idea, let's take a look at 5 nominees that, good idea or not, didn't follow through on what they had promised. These are 5 pictures that, just for whatever reason, missed the mark entirely. Maybe they were boring, maybe they were forgettable, maybe they were just downright poorly made. I don't know, but something happened here, and now we gotta talk about the most disappointing film of this year. The nominees for this very shameful Fannie Award are The Atom Project, The Gray Man, Hocus Pocus 2, Lightyear, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. And the Fannie for most disappointing film, unfortunately, goes to The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. The idea of Nicolas Cage being in on the joke and making an entire movie centered around the fact that he's in on the joke should have been glorious. This should have been the kind of movie that starts a ticker tape parade going in Times Square. At last, Cage embracing his unique cageness, uncaging himself and being the most Cage any human could ever cage. And instead, we end up with this middling, sometimes funny, sometimes interesting action comedy that comes and goes like a cold sore. This is the kind of movie you forget about completely the day after you see it. And that's the problem right there. That should not be the case for a movie about Nicolas Cage playing himself and embracing his bonkers brand. If you want an action comedy this year with weight that's going to stick with you, watch Bullet Train. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent is just unbearable. It's the biggest disappointment of the year because Cage Uncaged should have been much better than this. And that's all we have time for today. I'm going to leave you on one final cliffhanger until tomorrow when we finally reveal the creme de la creme, the top of the walk, the number 1 Best Picture. That happens in less than a day. I will see you then when the Fannie Awards conclude on day 10.